After a lot of planning and building up, it is finally here, my 2021 desk setup. So let's check it out. Let's begin with an overview of the whole thing. Definitely the most striking part of the desk is the stacked dual monitors, so let's start with that. At the heart of the desk setup sits my 2019 27-inch Retina 5K iMac. It's got the 8-core i9 processor, and I upgraded the RAM myself to 64GB. In terms of graphics, it's rocking the Radeon Pro Vega 8GB card. I absolutely love this iMac for photo and video editing. The screen is stunning and extremely sharp, and the colors are accurate. The 5K display also makes it really nice for watching movies and consuming YouTube content. This iMac has all the power I need as a creative, and I'm really happy with it even 2 years down the line. In terms of design, I do have to admit the bezels are really feeling dummy thick, especially when you put it side by side with other monitors like the one I have sitting on top of it. Speaking of monitors, let's check out the elephant in the room, which literally feels like an elephant-sized monitor when sitting on top of my iMac. This is the Philips 288E2A. What a mouthful. It's a 28-inch 4K monitor and was actually my main monitor for quite some time before I brought the iMac into the mix. It's got a pretty decent display and the colors are vibrant. I personally wouldn't edit off of it though, until I'm able to calibrate it externally. But it does the job for giving me extra screen real estate when I need it. It's mounted using the Loop Alloy dual vertical monitor mount, which is basically an extra tall monitor mount with 2 monitor arms. How many times have I said monitor? However, I only use the top arm because I prefer my iMac with its stand. It kinda completes the signature iMac look. Perched on top of the Philips monitor is a Basis monitor lamp that I use to illuminate my desk at night. Because it's so high up, it does a really good job of spreading light throughout my entire desk. It's got 3 modes with warm, cool, and a mix of both, but I mostly use the cool white light. I'm actually quite surprised at how well the 2 monitors match in terms of their footprint, given the extra inch difference in screen size. Because the bezels of the Philips monitor are so thin, even if it's bigger than the iMac in screen size, the footprint is practically the same, making for a really nice and clean look. I originally planned to do a horizontal dual setup, but I was concerned it wouldn't look as clean because the 2 screens are different, and aesthetically, it would feel unbalanced. This is why I went for a stacked dual monitor setup. When I was planning it out, I had some reservations given the large size of the top monitor. Usually, top monitors would be smaller than the main monitor, but in this case, they're the same size, practically. When I finally built it up, it was quite intimidating to say the least. I found myself looking up a lot using the top monitor, which honestly was quite a strain. But now I've gotten the hang of the setup, the top monitor is only used for things I'd occasionally glance at, like background videos, Discord chats, and market charts. Basically, what I put up there are things I'd want to have easily accessible, but don't intend to stare at for more than 3 seconds. If I want to interact with anything up there for longer than that, it's as simple as bringing it down to the main screen and doing the work there. I use the main iMac screen for things that need to be color accurate, such as editing videos on Final Cut Pro and editing photos on Lightroom. Another concern was the stability of the top monitor. It being my first time to use monitor arm mounts and the second monitor being so high up, I was a little anxious at first that it could fall on me. But after doing some intense indoor cycling training right next to it, I'm pretty confident that it'll hold up just fine. Oh, and for those of you wondering, the top monitor isn't touching the iMac at all. I left about a centimeter of space between the two for literal wiggle room. Overall, I'm really liking this stacked dual setup. It makes me feel a lot more productive, and sometimes feeling productive is the first step to being productive. Also, a plus side is at night, it feels like I'm commanding a spaceship, which kind of makes me feel giddy inside. Alright, moving on to the peripherals of the desk. My keyboard is the tech YouTuber basic favorite, which is the Keychron K2. I got it in Gateron Browns, and I'm really enjoying typing on it. I haven't customized any of the keys in fear of going down an entirely new rabbit hole, I mean hobby. Below the keyboard, I got a custom wrist rest from IronMeetsWood. I really enjoy the color this wooden wrist rest brings to the otherwise black and white desk, and kind of brings a more natural contrast to the tech on the desk. They also accept custom design engraving, so I took that opportunity to bring two of my favorite motivational quotes together. I'll pin whoever can leave a comment down below if you can name who they're from. To the right of the keyboard is my mouse. For the longest time, I've been a trackpad kind of person, but since I got a really bad case of carpal tunnel last year, I've switched over to the Logitech MX Vertical. I love this mouse so much, and I've really gotten used to its ergonomic design that I totally forgot that most mice don't look like this. The one thing I wish it had is the weighted scroll wheel that the MX Master 3 has, but aside from that, I'm really happy with it. The texture is a really nice touch and feels great in the hand. The mouse itself is the perfect size and fits naturally in my hands. Having gotten used to the trackpad for so long, I couldn't possibly go without a trackpad. So to the left of my keyboard sits the Apple Magic Trackpad. I really love using the trackpad for gestures on macOS. Things like pinch to zoom and switching between desktops and mission control are gestures I use on the daily, so it's nice to have a trackpad there for that. I also love the convenience of pinch to zoom on Final Cut Pro, so a trackpad is a must. Docked on the lower right of my iMac speaker vents is the Satechi Aluminum Type-C Clamp Hub Pro. Long names. As the name suggests, it's a USB-C hub that connects to one of the two USB-C ports on the back of the iMac and brings all the connectivity to the front where it's easily accessible. I like this hub because it frees up the back ports for things and cables I want to hide, which I'll get to in a bit. Back to the hub itself, it's got three USB 3.0 Type A ports, an SD card slot, and a micro SD card slot. It also gives you back the USB-C port it takes up at the back, which I take full advantage of with my SanDisk Extreme Portable 2TB SSD. I absolutely love this little thing. That's what she said. I've had it for quite a number of years now, and I edit all of my media off of it. It's really quick and makes it feel like I'm running my media directly on my computer. It's also really light, so it's easy to bring around, and it can actually just dangle off my laptop. But I don't do that, because, yeah, scary. To the right of my desk sits a generic 3-in-1 wireless charger dock for my iPhone, Apple Watch, and AirPods. I just picked whatever was on Lazada, and I'm pretty happy with it. It keeps me from having to use lightning cables and the Apple Watch charging puck on my desk, and it does its job well. My phone lives on this stand and charges whenever I'm not using it, and because it's on a stand, it's really easy to view notifications as well. For speakers, I went with a nice budget-friendly option with the Logitech Z333 2.1 speaker system. It's got two speakers that sit on the desk and a decent enough subwoofer that goes on the floor under the desk. It's definitely not the best in terms of sound quality when compared to my Bowers & Wilkins speakers, but they're definitely better than the speakers on the iMac. They're loud enough to fill my room when listening to music, and for a non-audiophile like me, the bass is decent and does the job. The on-desk speakers also look really clean and match the monotone look of the setup. Oh, and the subwoofer also makes a good footstool, so there's that. My feet are on it right now. Partially hidden behind my iMac are my external hard drives. I've got an 8TB Seagate hub drive I've been using to offload media for years now, and a 16TB expansion as well. Sitting on top of that are some miscellaneous hard drives that I sometimes pull files from. Alright, now that we've talked about what's on my desk, let's get to the fun part, which is cable management. For the first time in my life, I actually put some effort into managing cables, which is partially why this is the first desk setup video I've ever made. My previous desks were messy, to say the least. I'm pretty proud of the way in which I've managed my cables this time. All the cables from the Philips monitor run through the convenient cable holders on the monitor arm and down to either the necessary ports on the iMac or directly down to the table. Speaking of ports on the iMac, we've got a full house in terms of ports, except maybe for the SD card, of course. From left to right, let's start. We've got the speakers plugged into the iMac's 3.5mm headphone port. one USB 3.0 port with the receiver for my Logitech MX Vertical mouse, the second USB port with an unplugged hard drive cable resting out of the way on the other cables for easy hard drive hot swapping, another USB port to run power up to the monitor desk lamp, and the last USB port to run power to the 3-in-1 charging hub. For the two USB-C ports, one is connected to the Satechi Hub on the front of the iMac, and the other is connected to a Moshi 4K60 HDMI dongle to connect the Philips monitor. And for the first time ever, ya boy is now on that Ethernet cable life because the internet router sits right beside me, so why not, right? All the cables that need to run to a power source or down are run through the hole on the iMac stand and joined together into one bigger cable with a Velcro tie, so nothing is absolutely permanent. I also Velcroed the power brick of the Philips monitor on the back of the desk, so it doesn't pull on any of the cables. Speaking of Velcros, because the cables are Velcro wrapped, I put adhesive Velcro every few inches or so to guide the main cable bundle behind the desk and down the left leg of the desk so they could be hidden and out of sight. Pretty clean, right? They terminate together towards a charging hub plugged to the wall behind my lens cabinet, which we'll get to in a bit. The only visible cable underneath the desk is the one that runs to the subwoofer of the speakers and connects the left and the right speakers on the desk. For this one, I just had to accept the fact that there would be cables visible because they just needed to be run to the subwoofer. But I did my best to clean it up into one bundle with the Velcro method I used for the power cables. Now for things to the left of my desk. As I've mentioned, I've used the lens cabinet to hide the hub that powers the desk, and I just put the internet modem on top of that. As someone who makes videos on YouTube, I also wanted to have my filming setup easily accessible and ready to go at a moment's notice. So I went for the Caleb Pike method of the all-in-one video C-stand rig. Mounted on top of the C-stand is my Aperture 120D Mark II. It's pointed upwards as a key light to bounce on the ceiling to fill the room with light. I would have preferred to use my Light Dome 2, but it's too big to fit in that corner, so I might look into a Light Dome Mini in the future. As for the remote, I've got it easily accessible behind my keyboard as well, so it's easy to control the light while filming. To see myself when filming, I attached my Lilliput A7S 4K reference monitor using a newer friction arm to the C-stand. Newer? Another friction arm holds whatever camera I'm using, which I positioned exactly where it has to be to get the frame I like when using a 35mm lens. In terms of audio, I mounted the Deity S Mic 2 under the external monitor, which is powered by a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. And I plug all of that into my M1 MacBook Pro running Logic Pro 10. I'm really happy with this pretty minimalist filming setup, and I'm glad I don't need to use tripods and other stands, which is really important when you want to maximize space. So yeah, that's the latest for my new 2021 desk setup. I'm glad I took the plunge and I tried out the stacked monitor setup. It feels really productive and I'm able to get a lot of work done while still enjoying content on the side, or rather, above. I'll link all the items I've mentioned in the description down below. And for viewers in the Philippines, I got a lot of these items from Lazada, so take advantage of whatever sale is going on this month, or whenever you're watching this. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this look into my new setup. I'll see you guys next time.